Clone Commander Bacara was as tough and fierce as they came. He also possessed a knack for overpowering opposition forces through aggressive tactics alone. But behind his tough exterior lay a deeply loyal soldier who simply sought to maintain the integrity of the Galactic Republic. And on one fateful mission in 19 BBY, his ultimate loyalty to the Supreme Chancellor saw him turn his blaster upon the very Jedi General he had sworn to protect. Welcome to the Karakazan Star Wars Lore Episode 193, Commander Bacara. As a commander within the Grand Army of the Republic, the nickname Bacara was manufactured from the DNA of Jango Fett. Of course, this goes without saying, but where he and his clone brethren differed was in his elite training at the hands of conquered Dawn journeyman protector Court Daven, which, while great for learning the history, traditions and language of the peacekeeping organisation, left Bacara feeling like a fellow lawman rather than a high-ranking soldier. In fact, the would-be commander grew to be somewhat isolated from his fellow clones, having learned a completely different language from most. Though it must be said that both he and CC-8826, otherwise known as Neo, would later form a close relationship. Having graduated from his clone trooper training, Commander Bacara was entrusted with leading the 21st Nova Corps alongside Jedi General Ki-adi-mundi. This elite unit of the Galactic Republic's 4th Sector Army were aptly named the Galactic Marines, and quickly saw deployment following the outbreak of the Clone Wars. But partway through the brutal and long-lasting conflict, Bacara briefly departed the battlefield to expand upon his already incredible skill set. The Experimental Training Regimen, which was spearheaded by ARC Trooper Alpha 17, sought to unleash the independence and tactical genius that lay within each clone. And to no surprise, Bacara graduated with flying colours and earlier than expected. Not far behind, however, were the likes of Apple, Bly, Cody, Rex, and Wolf. Perhaps the highlights of Bacara's military career occurred during the latter stages of the Clone Wars. For example, the year 19 BBY saw him and the Galactic Marines somehow emerge victorious in the devastating Battle of New Bornalex. They were truly up against all the odds after their experimental armour failed, leaving each soldier to fight battle droids and Mandalorians alike with only their bare fists. This, combined with his sheer refusal to retreat, saw Bacara awarded a rather ferocious reputation. But nothing should be taken away from any of his participations in the conflict's onset. Firstly, the Clone Commander and his Jedi General helped push back separatist forces on Magneto, following disagreements between the Republic and the Intergalactic Banking Clan. And secondly, if it were not for Bacara's efforts in the subsequent battle for the snow-covered world, then many Republic soldiers would have perished in a crushing defeat. Upon returning to Magneto in 19 BBY, the fighting in its capital city had only worsened. Whether it be enormous separatist tri-droids or barrages of Republic artillery, there was simply an overload of chaos and destruction for as far as the eye could see. Even the once picturesque skies had been diluted into dark grey waves of ash scattered by the planet's icy winds. But as it turned out, the washed out colours and unbearable destruction were merely a sign of events to come. Indeed, Bacara received an encrypted message from Supreme Chancellor Palpatine instructing him to execute Order 66. And just like that, despite their admiration for and loyalty towards ki-adi-mundi, every single member of the Galactic Marines turned their blasters away from their droid adversaries and into the back of their Jedi General. The panicked and dumbfounded look that struck Mundi's face only seconds prior would forever remain in the memory of Bacara, yet he always maintained it was the right decision given the Jedi plot to overthrow the Galactic Republic. Now it's time for this week's question. Which clone commander do you believe was the most skilled? Let us know in the comments below. Remember to vote for next week's episode by participating in the card poll on screen now. Also, to have your say in future lore videos, head on over to thecharactersdance.com and get voting. If you learned something new from today's video, be sure to leave a like. And for weekly lore content, press that subscribe button and notification bell to keep it locked here to the Characters Dance.